What's going on, guys? It's Radar here, and there's something a bit different. We're actually going to go through this neat new program that's come out called iAnalyseRacing. You might see on the iRacing website, this is being pushed pretty hard. They've got a promo there. If you run the logo, you get so much of a subscription to the service. Quick rundown of what iRacing Analyze is. As you can see under the logo, the integrated data logging, analysis, voice control, and data sharing for iRacing. Now, the big one there is voice control, but I'll get into that later when I give a run through what the program is and how it actually works. So basically, as it says, it's very similar to iSpeed. Most people should be familiar with iSpeed. If you're not, you've been living under a rock. But anyways, iSpeed is basically a HUD you can run on a second monitor or a tablet. I believe you can run it as well on. That gives you your fuel usage, laps, etc., all that good stuff that you want, that you need at your fingertips. And it's got a lap analyzer as well, which is a separate program entirely. And that you can use to analyze not only your laps, compare two of your laps, but you can also compare one of your laps with someone else's lap, provided that other lap was run with iSpeed open. You won't be able to see any laps that aren't run without iSpeed being open. This isn't the thing with iAnalyseRacing, but I'll get into that again later. But the big thing with iSpeed versus iAnalyseRacing, just to be clear, this isn't an iSpeed versus iAnalyseRacing video. This is just this is iAnalyseRacing. It's similar to iSpeed. Okay, cool. Pick whichever one you want. iSpeed barely costs a thing. In fact, it's just a donate, and then you've got the license for the program. However, iAnalyseRacing is a bit different. Just open up. Here we go. So look at the pricings for it. So it's on a subscription basis. I grabbed the 12-month one, so that'll run out next year for me. I've only had it for a month, the program, and pretty good so far. So yeah, as you can see, it's all in US dollars. So you Aussies out there, it's a bit more expensive because our exchange rate's crap at the moment. But yeah, subscription based. Before I went with this program, I was reading a lot of stuff on the forums, and everyone's having a big go at the developer. It's kind of like a one-man show, this. So have a big dig at the developer for making subscription. He's got to make some money out of it, and also paying for the servers because it hosts a lot of data. It sucks a lot of data out of the sim, and it's got to host it on the cloud somewhere. So most of that subscription fee is just for server space for his end, and also so he makes a bit of money out of it in the process because the way he's pumping out updates, this guy is doing some good work. But take it as you will. Someone got confused and thought it was for 12 months. It was $39.95 plus $3.33 for every month. Yeah, people. Anyway, whatever you want to take that. So we're going to have a look at the actual program. So this is it. It's got multiple tabs, and the big difference between this and iSpeed is that everyone's lap in the session is recorded, no matter what. If they don't know iSpeed, they don't know iAnalyseRacing. In fact, if they're just a rookie and they don't know anything except the wheel and pedals, their lap's still going to be on here if you're in the session with them. That's the best part about this, is that, so I can jump, for my instance, jump in the V8 supercar, I can be second off the pace. I can just go, yep, cool, I've had iAnalyseRacing open, data reference lap, the quickest guy in the session, data lap, my lap, and I can see exactly where I'm going slower. So the way it works is, so the map source is just what gives you the map data. The maps are done off dead reckoning, so you'll find at some tracks with a really awkward turn one, like Oran Park and Sonoma. Sonoma is down there because we're in there with the V8 this week. Is that turn one looks weird because for Sonoma, turn 1, 2, they're all a giant left-handers, so it's just a big hook turn, but it doesn't reflect it. Like the actual track map is different to the iAnalyseRacing one because it uses dead reckoning and stuff like that to get the map. With tracks like Spa, which I was just turning laps in for the Road Warrior 24-hour next weekend, map's perfect. But if you're on your first lap out and you do some weird stuff with the wheel, it might think odd. But yeah, generally the maps are very good, very accurate. So you just data doesn't do much. The map doesn't change. The data lap, this is basically the lap you want to compare with a good lap. So for me, we'll use myself as a reference lap there. So we go with Dave in the 107. We'll make him the data lap, and we'll go with his fastest lap, and then the reference lap will be me and my fastest lap. So that's just setting outside your data sources. So there's nothing spectacular. I think you just updated them. I don't know. That's just saying this is what I want to use for every single tab across there. So the driver tab, this is just effectively how the driver's driving the car. Your steering inputs, your throttle inputs, the speed, it was just scroll down. The pedals aren't actually showing up for some reason, but that's because we're using his lap. That's the point I should raise as well. Your lap, your data. So we'll go to my most recent lap and my fastest lap. I think they're actually identical. You see, you got pedals and all that good jazz down there. That's because it's recording it from your computer. If you take the data lap to be someone else, so we'll go back to Dave, no pedal inputs. And there's a lot less fidelity in the data lap info. There's no longitudinal, latitudinal G-force. That's kind of it's a way he's worked around this whole you can see exactly what they're doing thing. It's also, imagine you're watching the replay in iRacing, the sounds are all muddled up and stuff, you can't make it gear changes properly. It's like that with the way it records the data. So, you know, you can see where you are on the track with regards to the map, where you're losing time. As you can see, he was a bit slower, so he's lost a fair chunk of time. That's a pretty self-explanatory tab. I don't really use this one much, because, you know, it's just, I'm going this fast. It is good, though, when you do it with yourself, so your first lap and your fastest lap, you can actually see the speed difference at different points on the track. So I want to go to the top, I want to go to Eau Rouge, yep, speed difference, my data lap, you can see up there, that's the data lap speed and that's the reference lap speed. So let's go back to Eau Rouge. Speed for the data lap was 258.9 and the speed for the reference lap was 260. So you can see I was a bit quicker. So it's good for comparing your own laps and big speed differences there. The next one's the steering. No idea what these scatter plots are on the side. I really haven't played with them much. Tend to avoid this tab as well. It's just the steering. It's almost the same as the last one, except for you got your corner radius and your latitudinal G-force. But for all those number crunchers, have fun. But I just click buttons and hope it works. So the track one's the one I find the most useful. As you can see, as you go around the track, you can see where the red indicates slow, green indicates quick. So you can see where you lose time exactly on the track. So we'll go 2 laps that are pretty close together. Oh, we'll go that lap versus that lap. There we go. So we go to the track and you can see where I'm making up time, reference that lap. So this is my data lap being paired with the reference lap. That's the thing you got to remember. So your data lap is the one you want to check against the good lap, which is the reference. So you see I'm gaining time down the front straight because it's the endurance layout, up through Eau Rouge and Radion, still gaining time. And the thicker the line, the more time you're gaining through there, and also the net gain time overall. But then you can see there's a magical crossover point, and you can see it up the top in the travel. Oh, we just start to get slower and slower because we hit a GT car on this lap. That's why. So that's a getting tongue twisted, nifty little feature. The fact you can just go around the track and trace out where you're losing time. It's good for finding those little tenths or hundredths of a second that you need. If you know you're slower on entry into the source, then maybe brake later or, you know, all that good stuff. The gearing, this is an interesting tab. It's basically saying these are the speeds you can get to in that gear. So in first gear, I could get, ideally, when I get to, I'll say that's 9700 RPM, I can get to about 125, 130 Ks. If I max out second gear, I can get to about 170, just over 200 for third, etc, etc. So it's the speed range within the gear operates optimally. You can still use 6th gear at 0 kilometers an hour. It's still not going to be great. So it's kind of good as well. And I did read something. It does take into account. It can take into account wheel spin, but I haven't seen that yet. Ride heights is something he's actually just implemented in one of the latest updates, and it's in the options. You have to have it set up a certain way. But excuse my pedal. This isn't dampers. This is just pure ride heights. So this is just seeing how well the car bounces across the road and stuff like that. Interesting tab, although he has said recently, and a couple of emails sent out about updates, that he's looking to get shockers or the deflections and stuff like that into this as well. So he's going for more of a Atlas Motec / iSpeed combo, which is good. It's an all-in-one program, which is what you kind of want. Saves you downloading multiple stuff. Lap report. I'm just kind of rattling off tabs at the moment because it's interesting to go through the amount of stuff you get with this program. Considering the price and all, just to let you make up your own mind about it. But lap report is an interesting one. The ideal sector time is every lap turned by the person in that sort of car in the session. So for a V8, everyone who's driving a V8 supercar, the ideal sector times are the quickest times for each sector, and that gives you the ideal lap time. So if everyone was that perfect, that would be the perfect lap time for that session. And then you've got your own breakdown And excuse me. And these are the red indicate which ones got used as an optimal sector, because they're all me, you know. And then neat little thing as well, hover over sector 1, tells me where sector 1 is on the track. Because iRacing is iRacing and doesn't have clearly defined, it's not just 1, 2, 3. Some will have 7, some will have 3. Just gives you a nice idea of where the timing intervals are. And you can do it on the track map as well. I believe you can go to the sector, so you can see where the sector breaks are, but there's also a feature in here somewhere where you can click to the sector and it'll take you to the start of it. The fuel report, this is the interesting part. This is where it kind of blends with iSpeed a bit. It gives you 3 options. It took me a while to kind of figure these out. Ignore the 0 laps, etc. at the top. I think that's a bit buggy at the moment. It's not working ideally. What you want to look at is the bar, is the charts and stuff below it. So aggressive, as it says, average of the fastest lap. So you're on all your runs, the fastest laps of the session that you put out. It's going to average the fuel burn. So the fuel use, which was 3.02 litres, or in this case kilos, because it's on the HPD. Yeah, average and median generally are the same, but sometimes that one lap, odd lap, will give you a different average to your median. I generally take the median, and then your average and median range. Of course, it's not changing much because I'm driving the car the exact same way, and it was only a 3-lap run that I did. But across a long run, if you do a 20-lap practice run, just for lols, give you a better spread. All laps are standard is just every lap in the session, and this gives you a bit more fidelity in the calculations. If anyone is not familiar with statistics, STD dev is standard deviation. Google it. I'm not going to bother explaining it in this. I'll actually put a link to what a standard deviation is in the description of this, in case you were that inclined. But basically, the average and median, again, it's the same, but it's a very nice tool. The only downside is there's no live HUD to it, and that's a conscious design choice by the developer, because and he's quoting exactly, most people use either 1 or 3 screens. So he didn't feel the need to integrate a HUD aspect to the program when most people aren't going to be able to see it on a 2nd screen, or if you've got the DOSH, a 4th screen. But yeah, I get the point. It is annoying because for me, I used to run iSpeed on a 2nd screen. Went to 3. I'm like, what am I going to do now? And then this popped up. I'm like, yeah, cool, sweet. Let's go with this. So definitely, it's very good. They're all pretty cut and dry tabs. Is basically what it says at the top is what you're going to get. The best part of this program is in the options, and that is the voice command stuff. It's extremely good. I very much enjoy it. Before we get to that, we're going to go through just a few of these. So this determines the frequency at which you'll be able to, it'll take data out of the sim. I've got it at 60 Hertz for everybody, so you can get the same sort of fidelity. If it doesn't take data, it's not allowed to take, like, you know, what am I looking at, pedal inputs and stuff like that, but it'll still take as much data as it can. The dual mode allows me to have the ride heights, and it basically, I get in the session and the iRacing telemetry is already up and running. I don't have to Alt-T, whatever the button is, to do it. It does it for me. Brilliant. I love it. This is just all preferred stuff. But the crew chief talk, pit countdown, you would have heard in some of my videos probably, as I cruise down pit lane, a lovely lady going 10, 8, because she forgets how to count to 9, etc, etc. That's the pit counter. I find it very useful. I think a lot of oval guys will find it useful as well in a crowded pit lane to find your pit stall. Generally, it's very accurate. Often when she says 1 is when I want to start 2 or 1, I'll start turning in. And then when she says bingo, it's generally when you want to hit the brake pedal. Experimented a few times. Some of the pit lanes are slippier than she thinks, so you miss if you hit bingo, but often if you're braking at bingo, you're good to go. So very much a useful tool. Empty pit lane, it's just cool in case you forgot where you were, or, you know, in practice you were the first pit stall and then you're an up down qualified last. It just reminds you should be like 2. Oh crap, I got to turn in pit lane. Cool. Very useful. You should hear it a few more times in my videos because this is basically always open now. The best part though is the voice command recognition, and there is a plethora, using big words today, of voice commands. They're all in the help, and we'll just actually bring that up so you can see it. Here we go. We go driver tools, voice commands. There's a lot of stuff. That's how you set it up. So you've got your navigation voice commands, which is how you can navigate within the sim. Let you know to go between your lap timing, standings, relative. So the beauty of it is, if I'm in a battle and I don't have enough time to reach my thumb and push the black box button a couple of times to get to where I want. All I gotta do is push one button and say driver adjustments, and it'll go beep, driver adjustments, and just take me straight to it, and then I can just adjust brake bias from there. Or I can even say adjust brake bias -1, and it'll do it for me. It's very, very handy. Often I'll go to the driver adjustments tab, make adjustment manually, and then I'll be like, oh, I got to get back to relative. I'll just push the button and say relative, straight back there in about 2 seconds. It's really good. That's probably about it, really. Black box editing, I haven't done that personally, but because it's easy for me to get to my rotary switch on my wheel, but you can use that if you're so inclined. Pit stop voice commands are pretty handy. I often use it if I've got to just make a quick get into pit lane because I've crashed the car. It would just be pit stop, no service. Comes back beautifully. In fact, we'll give you an example now of a voice command, so just give me a sec. Pit stop, no service.
10-4 pit stop, no service.
So there you go. It's as simple as that. Just a button bound to your wheel. You get this tone. So the first tone was to say that you've opened the command, and the next tone is to say cancel the command. And then if you've done the correct command, so if I say pit stop, service, no. Hello, nope, not going to play it. I think I broke it. Oops. But anyway, usually I actually think I broke it. Yep, I broke it. It's being stupid. So it's really handy. The thing that gets me sometimes is the advanced pit stop commands. So if you're trying to combine fuel and take tires, but generally it's very, very good. It often doesn't get it wrong, and you'll just say pit stop, add 40 litres, change all tires. 40 litres of fuel being added, all 4 tires being changed, you got a free tariff on the way. It's very, very useful. And for those of you who have got buttons a mile away from you, you're in a nice fancy sim rig, you're not strapped to a desk like me, can't quite get to your buttons quick enough in the middle of a fight, but you've got a handy push to talk button on your wheel, push that, speak away, and you're set. So, I think it's back. No, it's not back, it's dead. Right, I broke iAnalyseRacing. So, in short, iAnalyseRacing is a very useful tool. It's not a replacement for iSpeed. If you don't have iSpeed and you want something that is going to have a bit more development potential, there's going to be a lot more features added. I've got 2 emails over the weekend about possible updates coming out, pre-release and stuff like that. Definitely go with this. The price, if that's an obstacle to you, then go with iSpeed. But me personally, I think it's definitely worth the money considering how much I use it. And the fact that it's got such potential. iSpeed is basically a dormant program. There's been no development to it. It's going to stay the same. This is kind of the way to go with this entry level. I'm going to say entry level telemetry stuff. If you're a bit of a geek and a boffin, you can go to Atlas and Motec. I tried it. It didn't help. Too confusing. In and out of the sim. All this stuff. This one you can just do a practice session. Exit, and the whole session is just dumped right on there. You don't have to worry about pushing Alt-T and stuff like that. So definitely, iAnalyseRacing is the way to go. Very useful program, still broken. And the customer support is superb. He's an American who made it, and obviously I'm in Australia. I emailed him at 10 o'clock at night with an issue. He was back to me within an hour. Like, pretty good. I mean, I know it was daytime in America, but still pretty good. Customer support as well, and it's run by the one guy, Jackalope Technologies. But yeah, definitely check it out. I'll chuck a link to the website in the description. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the flip side.